Welcome to Wednesday Insights. I greet you, dear village. Thank you for tuning in today and for taking a moment in your day to pause and receive the message this insight has for you. I'm sharing this insight with you after completing my first 72 hours fast earlier this week. It has been a profound experience to feel more deeply into what is hunger really, and secondly, to attune more deeply to what it truly means to care for my body, my mind, and my soul. As I was breaking fast, I had a conversation with a dear friend who showed some concern in regards to my fast. He shared that hunger is an important sign. It is the body's signal that it is time to eat and refuel. I agreed with him. I used to think like that too, and therefore never questioned the prompting to eat. Yes, hunger is an important signal. However, could what I perceive as hunger be something else? Which means I'm actually not feeding my body. I'm feeding a pattern. And how beneficial is that really for my body? I used to be hungry every 3 to 4 hours and made sure to answer the call every single time. Fortunately, I was becoming increasingly awake to choosing healthy food options as my body responded really poorly to sugar, gluten, and dairy. Otherwise, I would have been in much bigger trouble. When I woke up in the morning, I already felt a strong pull towards my first meal to kick off my day. The first time I got to really challenge hunger was in 2018. I had a gastric ulcer caused by pain medication after a tooth operation. For 7 months, I experienced a lot of pain. I couldn't follow my normal eating pattern as my stomach was highly sensitive to almost any foods. It became a real blessing in disguise. For the first time, I started to see through the fog of my pattern and realized I had been a slave to what I perceived as hunger for so many years. In the pain, I made contact to an old story still being recycled within me. I allowed myself to reconnect. I saw her. She was once the bulimic one and struggled deeply with her self-image. Her hunger for care, love, and appreciation. She silently and violently communicated through food and through eating. It was a place for her to express the void in her, a filling up to experience a split second of comfort and relief, and then emptying out, forcefully punishing self over and over again. I knew her and her pain really well. Over the years, she had moved into the background as I allowed for healing to take place. Her grip on me today, however, persisted in a very different yet invasive way. Her story, I realized, still echoing in me. I am hungry. I was noticing the silent autopilot. I linked it to this extreme hunger I experienced every morning before I made my breakfast shake. On some days it showed up in the evenings as well. Let's have a snack. She had been trying to contact me. What is the impact of feeding a pattern instead of feeding the body? It often means that we self-neglect, which stands in the way of truly getting to know what it means to self-care. If we don't immerse ourselves in the practice of self-care, how can we truly know what it means to show care for anybody else? Care is an important discipline in ensuring our own well-being and contributing towards someone else's well-being. Only when all is well in our being can we truly show up in each of our roles as students, as parents, as teachers, as leaders, sons and daughters, sisters and brothers, and perform really, really well. The journey of the responsible individual is about meeting all the parts of you that is still stuck in an old story, to activate the inner healer and coach so as to allow for expansion and renewal. I did not want to remain stuck in the old story. Once I connected to that inner conversation that expressed itself as hunger, I was able to attend to the root cause. We have a tendency as human beings to quickly move on to the next thing. It actually takes time to shift patterns. They don't just disappear because you know about them. Often we have caused some serious damage through the self-neglect. So there is multiple layers of repair work that needs to take place. And guess what? We are rarely just dealing with one pattern. I'm fascinated by our behaviors, the prisons we create for ourselves, the nonsense we tell ourselves, and the harm we cause ourselves. But it doesn't stop there. Mostly, we project all of that stuff onto those that are closest to us, causing harm to them. Are you ready to break up with the old energy, to call the bluff on that old story that you keep telling yourself? Are you ready to welcome a new season? It is a continuous journey, and there's no doubt that for you and me to fully express our purpose, we have to be the one in charge, not our body, not our mind. In my 72-hour fasting exercise, I invited both my body and my mind into a more efficient partnership. It is one of many practices I have been exploring to fine-tune the recipe that works for me in my commitment to my physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. We're all different. Our recipes will be different. This insight is not a promotion for fasting. It is an invitation to champion your well-being on every single level. These are some of the basics that applies to each of us. Firstly, commit yourself to building a self-leadership toolkit. Awaken the leader within you. Acquaint yourself with who in you speaks. Get to know who you are, and especially who you're not. Know that you are in charge. If you're not sure how to, committing yourself to a guided process can be a really good idea. Secondly, establish a solid nutritional foundation. The best foundation is the one you build over time, consistently. It is a commitment to your well-being and fine-tuning what it means to honor your body, attuning to the nutrients that your body needs and asks for, understanding what is a pattern and what is a real need for your body engine. This requires that you are deeply committed to self-care, which builds and sustains your foundation, and that you catch any of the self-destructive patterns that threaten your well-being. This second practice can only really be successful if you continuously fine-tune your Awakened Leadership Toolkit. Thirdly, allow for a consistent movement practice 3 times a week. It can be a long walk, gym, hiking, yoga, Pilates, a boot camp, any sports or exercise that suits you best. The movement practice is really about moving energy within your body. This supports the first 2 practices tremendously, and it will boost your immune system. Lastly, and very importantly, in all you do of the above, breathe deeply. It helps you to practice presence in each moment, to listen to your heart and to center yourself.